am pleasantly surprised. Actually, I'm not. This is One Piece. One Piece chapter 1097, Ginny. Now, this chapter is supposed to be focused on Ginny, all about Ginny, but we know what One Piece is. It's about a little bit more than Ginny, even though Ginny is the focus. And Ginny, we have so many questions. This chapter came out, and as much as it answered questions, now I have more. And that's just One Piece and how it is. But we're not going to waste any time. Let's get to the cover story, because Oda is doing strange things. Strange things. If we look here, it has Kuma catching fish, okay? There's a bear catching fish, and there's a woman. And then there's two men on the riverbank. Now guys, this looks like just a cool cover art request. Again, cover art request, but this is directly related to what we see in the chapter. Kuma is with Ginny, and the two guys that are currently on Bonnie's crew, they're on the riverbank watching him fish. Oda, is this canon or not? So I look at the girl when I first see the chapter, I'm like, is that Ginny? Because the guys behind him, I recognize them now. Go to the chapter, she has on the same outfit. I'm like, okay, technically the cover art requests are not canon, but Oda, you tricky boy. This chapter was great because it adds context to certain things, but it leaves noticeable gaps based on the information we know. One thing we know for a fact is that Kuma was a king. To some, he was a tyrant based on perspective. We know Bonnie at some point was with Kuma at Egghead, but the timeline's messed up. The timeline's completely messed up. And again, Bonnie, estimated, is 24 years old. If you look at the wiki, Bonnie's age is the only age. This is from the SBSs and the River cards. Bonnie's age is the only age that is estimated. Coincidence? I think not. And I'm starting to believe that Bonnie's not a real person, meaning Bonnie's a clone. Starting to believe that, and I'll explain why. But let's get through the chapter. This chapter showed Kuma as a pure person. Last chapter, if you didn't feel that, this chapter, you definitely felt it. With the hands of liberation. Kuma is also a very interesting devil fruit user, where literally one aspect of his body changed forever from his devil fruit, where forever his hands had paws. They became paws where they can, saying that, I don't know why it sounds weird. They became paws. It's a permanent alteration on his body. It's kind of like Luffy eating the Gumu Gumu, like his body changed forever, became rubber. That's not typical really, but I think that's really cool. I mean, Paramisa devil fruit, they can do anything. The abilities are endless, but I think it's really cool. Kuma, okay. The fact that he's taking the time out on the weekends to take the pain out of the old women, old people in general. I mean, it speaks to who he is as a person, but when you go deeper than that, the fact that he's willing and able to take all that pain every weekend, and we thought about it, talked about it at least. I said, okay, what's the pain relative to, right? What's it relative to? Because how much pain is it? Is it relative to Kuma or relative to the person? That's how you quantify it. Because for older people, everything is going to be a bit more painful because you're older. So then when you quantify it, is it a lot more? Because when Kuma expelled the pain, it's a pretty decent size in comparison to that old lady. So I'm thinking it's relative to the person that's experiencing the pain. And then once Kuma expels it, it's going to look like a lot of pain because it's relative to them. I just said that like 3 times. And because they're old and they're more fragile, they're going to build up a lot more pain over time. Over a week, it's a lot of pain for an old person. Hip go out, they fall, shoulders sore. It's a lot. And so Kuma, after expelling all that pain, here comes Ginny. And Ginny is, I like her. Like, I like her. This cute, demanding type with the freckles. Her saying, yo, we ain't giving handouts. But the people explaining why they're there. They said they want to donate to him. They would like to pay him, but they're struggling to keep up with the tribute. And the dude behind it is King Bakori. He looks like a villain out of Aladdin, okay? But he doesn't care. There's a tribute. You got to pay it. If you can't pay it, you're going to die. Right? There's somebody that apparently they died from starvation because they're in the cell. Like, for him, he's like, yo, I'm not gonna cater to you guys because I have the celestial dragons to worry about, and I'd rather be concerned about them than you guys. So prisoners, we're not gonna feed you because we don't have to. So you can die for a week here. You're a prisoner for a reason. And so King Bakari, he's just the prototypical scumbag sovereign. It is no ifs and ands about it. He just doesn't care about the people. He's in it for him. And that's how a lot of them are. What messed me up though, genuinely messed me up, is the fact that Kuma, not only is he expelling the pain from these people, he is going in and taking all of that pain, which, it lends to us thinking about Zoro. And every time you see Kuma, it's like, when he just gave Zoro a piece of Luffy's pain, here, have a taste, and how much it affected him, he understands because he had to do it. So it's just like, how much are you willing to sacrifice? Guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm going to go back and read every single panel involving Kuma in the story because he has catapulted to one of my favorite characters in the story. He was around top 40, top 50, top 15. And climbing. Such a pure-hearted bro, I'm saying, right? I'm saying, don't tell nobody, but I'm saying, if that was me, I take all that out the old ladies, then I'm gonna drop that pain right in Walmart. Then I'm going home. They don't be acting right in Walmart anyway. So we're just gonna leave it right there. Whoever go through it, and I'm gonna bring it back every single time. Nah, I mean, I'd probably drop it in a in front of a prison or something. Somebody else gonna take it. I'm not taking it. Kuma is saying, first I was like, why are you taking it? Just send it into the universe. He said, well, if I don't take it, apparently it goes back to the people. And then what he's doing becomes useless. I mean, bro, just take the pain and then we'll pick some fights. Like, don't take all of it. He's a pure person, bro. Shout out to Kuma, dog. Like, that's just a good dude. Absolutely love the relationship between Ginny and Kuma because it's just showing what pure love is. Because Kuma at that point, they've been growing up together. Ginny at this point is 21, Kuma is 17. And so for Ginny, it's torture almost for her, you know? Kuma really cares about her. That's obvious. It looks like they were living happily together. Now, I did not think, I always thought at least, that something bad would happen to Ginny, and it did by the end of the chapter. We don't know how bad. Technically, based on what we know right now, she's not alive today, so something really bad had to have happened. I love their relationship, man, because it's pure. It's no real sexual things involved. It is literally just they are two people that really care about each other. I'm willing to guess that Ginny is willing to take it further than that, but Kuma's, yo, he's a pure dude. That's why I'm starting to think less and less. Bonnie's not his biological daughter. There's no way. I just don't think it's in him. I don't. What's in him? You know what I'm talking about. Ginny tried to slide it in there saying, tried to slide this comment I'm talking about, saying, yo, Kuma, let's get married. And Kuma's like, we can't. And it's not that he doesn't love her. He loves her. He adores her. He has PTSD. That trauma is real, right? He is still thinking about what happened to his mom, to his parents, where his dad was a Buccaneer, but because he had Buccaneer blood, everyone had to go through this. He doesn't want Ginny to go through that. What's ironic is that at the end of the chapter, when Ginny gets abducted, I would not be surprised if it was specifically to get to Kuma because he's a Buccaneer and to use her as bait. Obviously, something goes awry and she ends up dying, we presume, unless she's somebody else that's living out there and they're not together, but I presume things go really wrong for Ginny. And another reason why I don't think Bonnie is Kuma's actual daughter, pretty much every single relationship that's of note, that matters in the story, not every single one, but most relationships in which two characters have genuine love for each other and care about each other, it has nothing to do with relation. Luffy and Sabo, Luffy and Ace, they're brothers. The Don is his mother. You don't have to be family to be blood. Well, technically you do, but you get what I mean, right? First off, we gotta call out Ginny because she's walking around this church, wherever they living at, which is a church, in booty shorts. What are you doing? This man is a saint, and you're walking around in booty shorts looking like that. What is wrong with you? Okay. She's trying to entice him. She's trying to, hey, the devil comes in different forms, okay? We saw what happened in Eden. Hello. We saw what Eve was up to. He's trying to give that man the fruit. Thank you. All right, let's move on. So Kuma, right? He's a fan of Dragon because Dragon is in the newspaper and he's like a superhero, right? He's like the guy that's liberating people, right? Because he's a freedom fighter. And recently I found out that freedom fighter is a synonym of terrorist. So technically that's what Dragon is. He's inciting riots, but he's doing it for a just cause, or from his perspective is a just cause, which typically, all right, we're not gonna get any deeper. You catch the gist. Something I have to say as well, the flashback, it's skipping a lot, right? Because we go from 25 years ago, then we go to 22 years ago. And that's where Kuma, he finally stands up to the powers that be because they were threatening the people. Because the king, he enacted a new law. It's similar to what happened in Kuri, but Kuri seemed to have gotten out of control because the king couldn't handle it. But here it seems the same way, but it's almost willingly, right? We don't care about them. You can have them do whatever you want with them. To the south of Sorbet Kingdom, do what you want with them, don't care. And so now all the people in the south, they're being persecuted and tormented and just taken advantage of. And Kuma steps up because that's the type of guy he is. Kuma gets arrested for that. And of course, Ginny and the boys, they try to break him out, and then they get arrested as well. But then they get broken out by none other than Eva-chan and Dragon. I gotta say this, One Piece sometimes isn't real to me. Like, it feels almost like a dream, like a fever dream. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I must be jaded. I must be I must be a super fan because there's so many characters in this story that I just adore. Bro, I love Dragon. I'm falling in love with Ginny. I love Kuma. We can go through the story, how many characters that we just absolutely enjoy. And so like, I'm reading the story, I'm just like, bro, there's no way this character is that likable. You know, I don't know what to say. I don't know. I'm just happy, right? The chapter made me happy and sad at certain moments because bro, all I want is for Ginny and Kuma to get together, right? Nothing weird, but just for them to be a family, right? Just because Kuma's such a good guy, you want good things to happen to good people. Fortunately, that's not how the world is. And we all know that so well, right? Even when you do good things, it's not typically reciprocated, or you don't always get good things back happen to you. And that's unfortunate. In this case, though, Kuma does get rescued by Dragon and Eva-chan, the man who he was a huge fan of, and so that's really dope, right? Things kind of played out in a good way. And I like what Ivankov said to him, because Ivankov said, I just said Ivankov, just two different ways there, don't mind that. But Ivankov said to Dragon, or to Kuma, if you're anything like the man you used to be, come with us. Which I like that, because it's like, yo, it's not just an open invitation. It's like, are you the same person that I met back then? Because I need you. I want you. And so seeing that photo with Dragon, arms folded, Kuma behind him, and Ivankov, and those other people, not sure who these people are. Of course, we see Ginny, the others. Some people are speculating that that's Bello Betty, but I don't know, it could be. It's cool, this organization, I wish we had gotten it sooner, because I would like to get more of them, right? It's selfishly, I feel that. Obviously, Oda has a plan for the story, but man, Dragon has a certain aura about him where he screams leader. And man, we got to talk about Dragon, because there were some reveals in this chapter that kind of blew us away that we somewhat speculated was true. And this confirmations and questions, that's what One Piece is about, right? Confirmations and questions. Sometimes you get more confirmations than questions. One thing is guaranteed, you're gonna get both in a chapter, okay? You're gonna get both, if it's a lore chapter at least, because sometimes you get Big Mom screaming wedding cake. And next, Dragon wants to grow like a virus, but he says at this point we're still in our infancy and we're still trying to grow. We don't have the funds. So we're mercenaries and we're supporting people that already have the means to fight, the will to fight back. So we're just going in there to fuel them. That's why Bello Betty is the perfect person to have on the crew, because she can help them fight beyond their capabilities. And if they already have the will, well, if there's a will, there's a way. And so Dragon, of course, he's saying to let's get our people recruited and give them weapons and training and drill that into them. Almost like the Navy, where you recruit people and you drill them and they rise through the ranks. It's crazy how familiar it is, right? And then of course, now I'm reading this, I'm like, yo, Dragon, where did you learn about all this? This is very interesting. And Kuma asked the question that everyone was thinking, and Dragon's like, I spent some time with the Navy. What? Don't you casually say that? Confirmed, Dragon was in the Navy. Now we got to guess, what was Dragon's rank? Admiral, Vice Admiral, Rear Admiral, Captain? I'm gonna guess Dragon was a Rear Admiral or a Vice Admiral. The reason why I'm saying that is because back then, Aokiji, Akainu, Kizaru, all those guys, they were Vice Admirals when the Ohara incident happened. And Dragon, after that happened, it seemed like Dragon, that was the final straw. So I'm assuming Dragon left even before that incident, but those guys were Vice Admirals by then. So I'm assuming that was Dragon's class. Honestly, I'm thinking it's so symbolic, because I think Aokiji took the place of Dragon, not only in Garp's life, but also in the Marines. I think Dragon was supposed to complete that big three. It's supposed to be Kizaru, Akainu, and Dragon, because let's not forget, Akainu and Kizaru, they joined the Marines at the same time. And Akainu, he has something personal against Dragon. He doesn't even call Luffy. That's Dragon's son. So there's something personal there. So I'm thinking the three guys that were supposed to be the next up Marines or the next up Admirals were Dragon, Akainu, and Kizaru. Dragon fell out, and Aokiji, who joined the Marines after Akainu and Kizaru, he then picked up the slack because he then replaced Dragon in Garp's life and grew stronger. It is crazy. A lot of speculation, but I don't think I'm that far off. Let me know what you think. Green, red, yellow, blue, yellow, red. I mean, it's not crazy. We then transitioned to 14 years ago, and Ginny, she's now a captain in the Revolutionary Army, and she's looking more than nice. And she's happy because she gets to link back up with Kumachi, her boy, her love of her life, honestly. And everyone knows it. Everyone knows that she admires Kuma, and she can't wait to link back up with them because, you know, they're obviously on different squadrons. I'm assuming they're captains, different respective areas, or Kuma at this point, probably a commander. Ginny's excited. I'm excited to see them together again. We skip ahead, and apparently Ginny got captured, and she's the captain. So I'm assuming that somebody stormed the base, took down everybody else because they're apologizing to Dragon, and they just take Ginny. Now, there's a few things we got to cover, right? Because the person that I would like for to be the person that took Ginny is Akainu, or rather Saturn. Either or, because I think both makes the story more interesting. It could just be nobody, just happenstance. But if it's either of those two people, it would be cool because they have history. Things we got to clarify. This is 14 years ago. Luffy's already born, right? So Dragon already has a kid. This is also 14 years ago. According to Bonnie's age, she should already be born. Does not look like Ginny had a kid. Does not look like Kuma had a kid. Doesn't even look like Kuma had... You get it. So what is going on? Bonnie isn't shown, referenced, hinted at, or mentioned, and we are 14 years before the current timeline. Bonnie is supposed to be 24. I'm trying to think. Bonnie's either still a kid or Bonnie's a clone. Recently in the SBS, I'll link the video below, Oda just revealed, I'll put it somewhere here. Oda just revealed that Bonnie has the age fruit. She can manipulate age at will. There's also a panel I want you guys to look at here, and this is from Egghead. And we see Bonnie, then we see Kuma. And it seems like Bonnie's saying to Kuma, will you free me too? Why is Bonnie saying that to Kuma? Where were you two guys held captive.
What?
So it seems like Bonnie and Kuma were held captive. Kuma is talking about the Nika, right? Joy Boy of liberation. And she's asking, can he free me too? Like, I don't know, guys. Things are getting kind of crazy, but let me know what you think. Dragon seems to be very disturbed at Ginny's capture because obviously a member of the Revolutionary Army, a captain, got captured. And typically something like that, it's not going to end well because they want to make an example out of them, right? It must be tough leading a revolution like this because you're going against everything that the world stands for. Meaning how the world is set up is for you to fail. What you're doing is against every single rule that's created. You're trying to topple a monolith. You're trying to do something monumental, never been done. And you're trying to start from scratch. This is the beginning of it. He's the founder. Typically for revolutions, it's generations. It takes a while. And so I'm sure Dragon has lost countless people that he bled with, grew with. Ginny's one of them, one of the OG members. Man, this is, like, again, a bountiful chapter, a lot of information, lore, but it's also sad. Great chapter, One Piece. Great chapter. Can't wait for the next one. No break next week. Something we do have to worry about is that we're going into the holiday season. And the holiday season in Japan, that shit weird because sometimes we get 2 chapters, 1 chapter in December, and all of a sudden we get 1 chapter, no chapter for 3 weeks. Guys, just let's enjoy it as it comes, right? I'm assuming we get 1 more chapter, right? Then we get a break. Then we get 3 chapters, meaning 2 chapters in November, then a chapter in December, then a break. Then we get 2 chapters. Great chapter in One Piece. Not as hype as last week, but I think equally as important, if not more so, Dragon. That's our boy.